Hello, welcome back to Cracking Up, Conversations with Chiropractors. My name is Laura Rigby, I am your host, and as always, I'm joined by Francesca Ellison-Lewis, chiropractor here. Today we're also joined by Scott. Scott, I actually don't even know your surname.
Weber.
Scott Weber. He is the gym manager here at Castle Royal and a PT, and also he's going to be chatting with us today about a golf course that's starting this week?
Next week.
Next week. Yeah, next week. A full-part golf course here. So we want to talk a little bit more today and deep dive on golf, guys.
Yeah, golf. Favourite subject. So I think it's starting next Monday on the 1st of December.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll get this out before then as well, let people know. But I think today we want to talk about more so of how chiropractic and PT and health in general around golf and how we can support, especially Castle Royal members as it is a golf club.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more with some facts in as well.
Before we get started, actually, Scott, do you want to introduce yourself properly?
Yeah, my name's Scott Weber, and I'm the manager here at Castle Royal. Been a PT for personal trainer for 16, 17 years, so a long time. Worked with people in many different sports, especially golf, because usually golfers can afford a PT.
Yeah. And need a PT.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to do workshops for golfers, especially as I work at a golf course. And a lot of the golfers are of an older age where mobility potentially becomes an issue.
I think mature age is a better term.
Mature old age. And so it's just good. It's just things they probably are aware of but don't do, so they need a little bit more encouragement and reminding to do.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think the nice thing with golfers is actually, in my experience as a chiropractor, I find they're easy to work with because they generally want to be able to carry on playing. Yeah. So they'll follow the homework, the advice, do the PT and get the results. So it's win-win. They feel great, they can carry on golfing. You feel great because you've got job satisfaction as well. So
yeah, it's you see it a lot of times, especially here where we work. We look out onto the golf course and a few of them will do a few swings with the golf club rotation thing and that's it, and
Oh, don't worry, we'll get into that.
Yeah. So it's they just a nice bit of help to make sure that they can keep going, because it is a hobby for a lot of people in their later years. Yeah. And so the idea for this is to keep them going into their later years.
Absolutely.
Because it is great exercise. You're doing a lot of walking, certainly you're doing 18 holes. It's great to be able to do that and keep fit, and walking is probably the most natural form of exercise as human beings, as with bipedal, upright, two-legged.
It's a stressful walk, because I did my first 18 holes a few weeks back,
Really?
and it was. I'm worse than I thought I would be.
Worse at playing golf?
Yeah.
Than you thought?
Yeah.
Do you get worse by the hole as well?
Yes, it did. I did actually par the 18th.
You're better than me. I went to.
But every hole it got worse and worse. It turns out playing golf on the PlayStation doesn't help in real life.
No,
so I thought it would.
So.
Yeah.
That's the opposite about it, apparently, because I knew a lady who I nearly said audition, but that's definitely the wrong word. She wanted to be a pilot in the RAF, and she went for I can't remember the words. I'm going to mix up it silly. She went for her
test.
Interview, and it's a test, competence test. And I spoke to her, and she said the one thing you've got to do is make sure you're good with the joystick and you play lots of computer games, because flying an aeroplane when you do this competence test or whatever it is very, very similar. So, but not the case. It defeats the object of a PlayStation or a Nintendo Wii, where you pretend to play golf and tennis. And
I'm amazing on those.
Yeah, we're brilliant
at
at
those.
I can tell you how the body works and the biomechanics of golf, but don't actually give me a golf club.
No.
But I did notice though when I played, because I played with two other members who were of a mature age, and they were knackered by the end of it. I didn't realise, and just stiffening up, and just their backs were starting to sort of tighten up a little bit. So you can see it happening. That was good for me because I could see it happening through that. The 4 hours we played, how their mobility and other things were probably a problem.
I think that is actually what we're going to discuss today then, is it, Francesca?
Yes,
awesome.
It is.
So before we rudely interrupted you, do you want to carry on?
Yeah, I think, what was I going to say first? I think We'll talk about, in general, mobility, so coming forward about kind of rotational force. So I think golf itself is a very rotational sport, and not a lot of golfers that I see in clinic come to us with shoulder pain, hip pain as well. The statistic around it as well is that golfers present with, I think it's around 50% of golfers present with low back pain, because without the proper mobility in the upper spine, so with the shoulders and your thoracic spine, causes an extra load and rotational force on the low back and the hips, especially if they're not mobile too, then you're creating extra force. I think golf in itself as well is disguised as a low impact sport, but actually there's over 1,000 micro tears each swing, and depending on how good you are, you're doing a lot more swings. So I think it is disguised, but it actually is using a lot of rotational force. So there's a few things that we can work with, and that's why it's so beneficial. Well, we'll get into with chiropractic care, PT as well.
But that in itself, I think, is a big thing, because if you're a desk worker, a retired desk worker, or a desk worker and a weekend warrior or a weekend golf player, then your upper back is naturally a lot tighter anyway through this position, which I know we've spoken about so many times before. But mobility is super important throughout, and even now we're in low season, whilst you're not training and whilst you're not golfing, it's probably even more important.
I think,
Sorry, I was going to say, I think, I see a lot of older, I see a lot of with the whole phone head down thing as well, and I think just modern problem.
Older, that's 20.
Yeah,
That's
it's a modern problem, and I think that adds just to the upper thoracic, the sort of just the tightnesses that you get, the rounded shoulders.
You took a deep breath in as you did that, and actually my first ever golf patient that I saw, she came in with a neck problem, but her diaphragm was really tight, and sitting like that's going to tighten all this area here. We released her diaphragm and her swing improved, and everyone was like, well, what have you done? And she's like, oh, so chiropractic, they released my diaphragm, we want a bit of that. And I used to go in to the golf clubs and just work on them there. So you're 100% nail on the head, I think.
I think
sorry, I keep interrupting.
No,
The tension and the strength that goes into the drive, when they're driving, they
absolutely.
are, that's 18 like high powered movements they're doing, just if you just take the drive, they're driving off the tee, wherever it is, they're going for it, they do, they take the driver out, and they're trying to, some probably have got a little bit trying to play a little bit more smarter, but a lot of them, when you watch, they're just absolutely going for it.
But then with those, they'll probably already have back pain, but it depends on how tight they are in their thoracics and their glutes as well, as in the low back, because the drive you want to hit further. But I found that with a study as well, that with chiropractic help, PT, rehab and everything like that, and if you train off season, you can increase your distance by 5 to 15% if you carry on with or with the power as well, because there's so much that goes into a shot with golf, even if it's just the drive, putting as well. There's these micro movements matter a lot, and even increasing your pelvic stability, mobility as well, can increase a lot of.
And just the basic strength gain, you get from just being active. Like one of the members, just before I come over here, that she's hitting further than all of her friends, and they're in their 60s, and she's the only one that comes to the gym.
Because actually you're in that semi-bent, semi-squat position, aren't you? So you've got your knees ever so slightly bent and you're ever so slightly leaning forward. Now, if you're not putting that through your legs and your bum, you put it into your back constantly. And that in itself is going to increase your chances of injury, disc injury, or lower back pain. And as you said, we're doing this at least 18 times. Well, nobody's going to get all in 18 times, so however it is, 18 times of whatever your par is. Is that right, par?
Yeah.
And its aptitude is the other word I was trying to
handicap. What your handicap is?
Handicap is. That's the one I knew it was wrong. So that is going to compound with each and every game that you're playing, or even every hole.
But not even that. It's more of like, it is a mental sport as well. If you start off bad because you're not properly warmed up, which I know people will do a few golf swings,
does not constitute warming up.
If you don't do well on your first few holes, then it's going to mentally just drain you a bit more, and you're probably not going to put as much effort into it. And when you get lax, I don't know, me being in the gym, I know that when I'm not lifting as heavy, I get frustrated. So I'll try do the same, but then I'll become lazy and change my form, and then that's where the injuries come in.
One of the golfers in the gym, he he is very good at, he comes in when he's going to go out and play, he comes in, he has his full mobility routine, he warms up, and he's, you know, he's one of the people I talk to, because I obviously talk to a lot of golfers now. He's getting better all the time.
Yeah.
He's getting stronger all the time, you know, and he's very good golfer now. But one of the things, probably he's retired now, he's newly retired. So I'd say he's probably been a social golfer for probably a good 20 years. But over the last year, he's been every day now because he's retired.
Brilliant.
So, but he took he obviously he realised that he probably needs to make sure that his mobility stuff. So he got that sort of done at the start of his, you know, full-time golfing retirement.
Yeah.
And yeah, he before every time he goes out, he's in doing his mobility. He's
playing every day. He's doing mobility
Yeah.
exercises every day.
every day. Like he's basically said to me, he's, you know, the first few years of retirement, he's going to live like a golf pro. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people getting out there at the moment and it's freezing,
cold.
and it worries me because nothing is warmed up.
Yeah.
So there are going to be a few injuries. I know we are going to, but especially talking about kind of out of the season, it's good to see people still going into the gym and strength training, because it's your time to build up the power that will make your rotational forces better as well, and make sure that when you go back into golf, then you're not going to get injured because your body's not used to it.
One thing is trying to, you know, what we're trying to do now is, because what they probably, like you said, you know, they do their winter stuff and then summer comes around and they just forget it. It's like, it's trying to build the habits of keeping the habits there. You know,
we call them movements.
Yeah. Now it's off-season rowing now. They work harder off-season in the gym than they do actually during peak season, short of the competitions and everything. So it should be the same. I think you think of it as a retirement sport or a leisure sport, but actually any sport can cause injury. Doesn't really matter. Should we talk about your course then, as a result?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, with, you know, obviously being a golf club, you know, part of many different golf clubs within the company, it just makes sense to provide for that off season. It's, you know, it's not supposed to be like hugely in depth, if you get what I mean. It's just a good 4 weeks, maybe more if it's popular, workshops, weekly workshops. Obviously you guys coming involved as well to show them these things, not just tell them on a bit of paper, but actually explain it person to person. And then we've had, you know, one of the employees at another club, he is a golfer and a golf training, golf strength and conditioning. So he's built these sort of gym programs for golfers and stuff like that they can sign up to and do as well. So it's, you know, for their off season through December into January and stuff, it's hopefully with the workshops with you guys and the programs they can have, it's just gonna just give them a little bit more support, you know, going forward.
Definitely. And you've got the tools then to work with, so
it
adds value. If you're not being able to golf because the weather's bad, come in, do some exercise instead, and make sure you're better come spring.
It's the one of the biggest studies on longevity, I think, was last year or 2 years back, and it just showed strength training, you know, good strong bones, strong muscles. You know, that leads to longevity. You know, if you fall down, you can get up. Exactly. If you hit yourself, you know. And one of the ladies today in a class, a strength class, she smashed her leg. You know, she's like 75, but she smashed her leg with a dumbbell. But it, you know, it didn't break, and she just put a bit of ice on, and she's strong and everything. And in my head, I was just thinking, what would have happened if her bones weren't, you know, would that have broken? You know, because you know, my gran, she never trained, so she did break her stuff quite easily. So it was. You know, I do think that helps. I
know exactly who you're talking about as well, and I know for a fact they do, without a doubt, 3 classes minimum a day as well. A day. Oh, and these are not just your everyday kind of aqua, although I love the aqua because it shows very mobility drills within the water and it's great, but she does like HIIT and stuff, and it's incredible.
There's a few things. I think your risk of mortality, so of dying, goes up with a hip fracture. And that's more likely in women anyway. I think within the first 12 months and then within the first 4 years as well, your survival rate's very low. And I read something which I like, because I've never been one for skinny legs, is the thicker your calf is and your thigh, the better your chance of not breaking.
What's the saying? Thick
thighs save lives.
I think it's true. Like, it is true. Like, you know, but it is true. You know, strong. You know, there is a strong bones, good muscle, and you know, I saw a cross section on one post of a 75-year-old active's cross section of their leg, and it showed the amount of muscle mass, and a sedentary 75. you know, and you see it's all fat. So it's like
I saw the same one as you, and I think they had been a triathlete for many years, and then it shows that their bone density and everything was a whole lot different, because the muscles support all of our systems, but it also lowers the rate of osteoporosis as well. I think when we get to an age and we're injured, we just want to slow down because we're scared to injure ourselves, but actually rehabbing, building up the muscles will support your joints.
I do powerlifting as a sport, and at our comps we get over 65s, we get 70s, and they're deadlifting 100, 150 kilos, and they're just, you know, just strong. They're just strong, you know, and it's very odd because they walk up to the platform a little bit unsteady, and then they smash this weight up,
with a little stick as
well. And they put it down, and then they walk off.
Mature
like,
age, just
and I'm like, wow, okay, but it just shows that's like you see it, and you know, I've worked in a few clubs, gyms, health clubs that have had a very, you know, elderly membership base, and I see the benefits right there, you know. And I remember one of the other places I worked, there was a lady, she was like 95, and I saw her again walking along the street as I was in the car, and a few years back, and she must have been near 100, but she was just walking along, and I was thinking, oh, wow, you know, I always wondered if she was still alive or not. And
in Wokenham, there.
In Wokenham, yeah.
So my mother-in-law's 100, and she's 101 this year, and she just keeps bouncing. I swear she's made her go back, but she walks everywhere as well. Yeah.
So I think overall, went on a little tangent there.
Yeah, we have.
I think
was it the thick thigh same line?
It was that one. It was the mature age.
Yeah.
I think so. The golf course session is, we know the kind of demographic for the castle in itself. So I think focusing more on golfers and building this course in general, especially we've both got experiences and expertise in certain areas, so we can help a lot of people. Even if you have just back pain or pain in general, I know that chiropractic, we can help with like spinal screens, but also I know you guys build personal plans outside as well, which are part of the membership, so it's always great. It's one of the best actual gyms I've seen here.
That is fabulous.
It's brilliant. But I think this course will definitely help, again, either just raise awareness on how to support your mobility, to even give you tips on kind of longevity. I can never say that word as well. But going out of it as well, I just wanted a little fact about hydrate, because I know we speak about muscles, bones and everything, but there's a lot about that we don't speak about, like hydration. I know I always see the mature people, before they go out for their golf and their rounds, they always drink a cup of coffee or tea, and it's like that is their hydration for the day. But actually you do need a lot. It doesn't count. I will say this to you. It doesn't count at all.
I saw a study years back, I can't remember it was something crazy, something like if you're 1% dehydrated, you lose 10% strength. It was something like that.
I do have it up.
Do you have somewhere on there?
It's 2. I think it's if you're 2% dehydrated. I'm not going to be able to find it now.
Under pressure. If you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. You should never ever get thirsty.
And you can feel it. Was it in there?
Here we go. Being 2% dehydration slows reaction time, reduces muscular power, and decreases coordination. So you are yourself.
Yeah. That's and one example was, take my brother. Okay, so my brother is it's really weird, world level arm wrestler. Okay.
Stop it. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. I was British novice runner.
Was you?
Just so.
Not to
but
flex.
you know, not to, but my brother, you know, and one thing I noticed, he always used to say he couldn't last, you know, through a session. Like his fatigue would set in and everything. And so I went with him to a training session, and I noticed, first thing I noticed, he wasn't drinking any water, and instead he was just drinking a pint. Because, you know, it was at a pub, you know, because it's a pub sport. Yeah. And I just said to him, I was like, next training session, I said, can you drink water through the day, but just drink a couple of pints through the training session? And the difference in like just his strength level. So just anecdotally from like personal, just seeing the difference from someone that wasn't hydrated to hydrated, it's just such a difference. And it's the biggest problem here, because they have a wellness checkup where they get on the body composition vision.
Oh, I've done it.
And it tells you how everyone is always a bit dehydrated, and I think that's one of the biggest problems.
It also tells you, going aside, it also tells you your bone density. I didn't realise that one does that, which is great.
It gives you your bone. It tells you your bone. It gives overall bone health as well, which is the idea. Is basically the density of it, and you know, it doesn't go up much really, but if just 0.12% is going to add a lot.
Massive.
You know, like it's touch wood. I've never broken a bone, and I've had, you know, I'm quite clumsy. So, but I think because I've trained for so long, you know, I remember I went for what's this when you go through into the tube thing?
MRI.
MRI. I've had an MRI before, and because I've got one of those, you know, those gristly lumps you can form on your back from the barbell, from years of being on the barbell, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, but they I remember they said to me that on their screen that my bones are they're just. They can tell. They can usually tell if someone trains because of that. They can see. It's how dense it is.
It's high. Yeah, it will be as well. Because the more muscle mass you have, the more it relates to bone density as well. That's why we always say, especially with women and like during menopause kind of region as well, is that you want to train more muscular so that it can help you.
Going back, you mentioned about obviously because women's hips are more open, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes. So the force loads are it really is different, and the pressures that go onto it. Yeah. Would you, from your point of view, is there a certain stance of say squats that are more optimal?
I said wider squats.
A wider squat.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, so the pelvis with the females more like that, I would say. Men are very straight. Okay, so as soon as we go there, the knees come in a bit more, so actually a wider stance, or it depends. Again, we'd have to assess, because I know that with myself, long femurs also comes into it, so it depends on the body, but the pelvis themselves, wider squats. Because you're just
long femurs, low bar squats.
Low bar squats. I have no
I
knowledge
do,
of a long femur, I'm afraid.
We've had this discussion, so
See,
I would have to do elevated.
I have short femurs, but
I've got very long.
I have a long torso.
Yeah.
So high bar squats for me. People are going to watch this and be like, "What the hell is that?"
We'll explain
We're
it later.
really enjoying ourselves, by the way.
We've gone off the whole topic now.
Let's get back on track. This is why we have this here, but we never ever look at it.
No.
So strength. So we've gone through strength. I think we've done a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Core strength as well, though, which we've not touched on at all. We're talking about powerlifting, weights, because we all enjoy powerlifting and weights here. But core strength, because there's a lot of rotation in the body. But also, if you're rotating too much, you're creating a shearing force through the disc. So you've got your bone, then you've got a disc, and then you've got a bone in your spine. And what you don't want to be doing is rotating your spine too much, because it's going to create a shearing force on the disc, and you put yourself at more risk of injury. So in this kind of force through here.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
You don't want that. Okay. So really, and I think any golf pro will be teaching the same thing. Have we got the golf pro coming in on the course at all? Any?
There's a couple. I've asked, and I'm waiting for a reply.
TBC. But the way that you're swinging and you're driving through, which, I mean, I suppose anyone who plays golf will know this, but you want to be working through your hips, and with your hips you're working a lot through your core to strengthen the drive, which is another thing about the off-season training. But it will also protect your spine and reduce your risk of spinal injury as well. If you're younger playing golf, so really when I say younger, below 60, really, you're still at a very high risk of a disc hernia. As you get older, the discs start drying up a little bit. The benefit of that is you're at less risk of a disc hernia, but probably more risk of other issues as well. So swings and roundabouts.
Death.
No.
Wow. I can't wait till you're 60. I wish that reminded me of that. Jeez.
No, that was a joke. No.
A bit morbid.
Spinal tears in the disc instead of disc hernias.
Yeah.
I was thinking of really Scott.
Not just stroke death.
I used to work at a private school that did every sport to a very high level.
Am
I allowed to say the name? Do you want to say it?
I suppose
Yeah,
other schools are also...
Well, you know Wellington College in Crowthorne, so big private school. So I was the fitness manager there, and so I used to look at a lot of the fitness for the kids and stuff. And that was one of the places where it sort of taught me and just showed that a strong core translates to every sport. And and a lot of the strength conditioning for all of the sports was basically, obviously mobility was always in there, but it was a strong core, strong glutes, strong legs. And mobility in the hips. If you had that, you're pretty much set.
I think mobility is also important in the hips, like you said, and it's very difficult because if you just lift and you do not stretch, you could be strong, but it will restrict your movement pattern, and it'll prohibit the way that you move.
I have a full, I try to say to the young lads here, I find in the gym culture now, especially in the evenings here, there is a lot younger crowd. I don't know what if girls are looking at different stuff than boys, but the girls do their mobility. I do notice that, like when between the 16 and 18, 19-year-olds, I see them doing mobility before they go and lift, because it's very popular now. But they're lifting as well. But but the lads, like, just not. They just go straight down to, you know, hit the gym and stuff. And I try and explain to them, like, look, I lift at a very high level. I do my mobility routines to do that.
The thing is, though, you probably remember in your 20s, you were invincible. And so they can do all of that and they will recover much more quickly. But when they get to their 30s and they realise their recovery is less, then they will probably start going, I need to... Or, sadly, they'll probably do themselves an injury before they come to that conclusion.
It is that also ego lifting. And it just comes to more like ego in the gym. I'm not saying females don't have it, but a little bit more. I've spoken to a mum before, and her like son basically said, I don't want to train glutes or stretch because that's a girl thing. That is genuinely what they said. So it does come down to, but also
like training glutes.
The gym culture for females is improving a lot, so it's probably why you're seeing a lot more females in the gym.
It's a lot more. I think it probably started with, it did start years back with CrossFit. That made lifting for women and a team thing, but from that it's, you know, it has become, I'm seeing a lot more kids in the gym, and apparently the culture is changing from drinking, you know, a lot of, back when I was younger, it was all about going out and, you know, with your mates, but now they're coming into the gym, they're not drinking.
They're
you know,
vaping.
they are vaping.
They're vaping.
That's actually one thing.
Right, go.
Go.
Because we can talk about any sport.
We'll have to do another one.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got here, we've talked about swing, okay, loss of power and the reason that you do core work. By the way, these segments that we're talking about, and we keep coming back, should be 3 or 4 minutes each. So
we're just
sorry.
going a bit off.
Practical tips, I think.
Daily routine. So we've spoke about different on our podcast before about movement snacks. So these are your daily routines that you start off in the morning, in the evening. These are just simple movements that you'll do, even if it's knees to chest in the morning, before you get out of bed. Warms up your spine. It gets you 10% better ready for the day.
I quite like thoracic rotations or lower spine rotations, and it's stuff that they're part of my warm-up mobility routine before any training session. But it's also if I'm feeling, you know, because I'm on my feet all day, and sometimes I feel a little bit stiff, I'll just get down and I'll just do a few mobility drills that I have, and it helps. And that's one thing I like that you've just said. I try and say to him, like, these 2 ones. And if I ever do a thing, I said, right, these 2 ones, try and make sure you do those every morning.
Yeah.
But not even that, the mobility, like especially the knees side to side, engages your core. So a lot of people with back pain refuse to basically go exercise or do kind of some stretches, exercise. But actually engaging your core will take less strain on the back. And I've heard people come to me before, they do the exercises when they get the back pain, and it helps because less of the force or the tension on the low back. It's now your core is taking the load, which is what it's supposed to do.
And the exercise can be adapted, so you don't have to bring your knees to your chest and take it all the way up, because that would be too strong. But just bending your knees and putting your feet flat on the bed and just taking your knees side to side to start with, until you feel that you can go a little bit further. There are ways that you can manage it with back pain as well. But I think little and often, everything within moderation is the key to everything. Yeah. And if you can make it part of your routine, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter if you play golf or not, a little bit of mobility every single day will have an impact. And
it will transfer to a lot, because I'm finding a lot of the members here that play golf, they also go and play paddle. They go and do tennis or stuff, and that's rotational. It's all, they're doing a lot of stuff, like, you know, you show me, it needs, there has to be the mobility. Like I did a session today with a golfer, and we're doing rotational work, and then we're doing the other side. He's like, why am I doing the other side? I said, because you need to be balanced. I said, you need to be strong on both sides.
And then they wonder why they look like this when they come stand up.
That's one thing. I mean, we're working together because it makes sense to work together as chiropractors, PTs in golf. We see a lot of people that do sports, and certainly if you do one-sided sports, so golf, tennis, bowling, getting down on one knee bowling, and doing all these things repetitively is going to create a rotation through your body. And what will happen, not only are we talking about muscle memory, but one side of the muscle will start to elongate as it's stretched repeatedly, and the other side that's repeatedly contracted will start to shorten. So you've got the complete dysfunction in your body. So the mobility is one thing, doing things the opposite side, and it sounds a bit bonkers, but whilst the other people are playing, the one thing that you could do is just swing the ball in the opposite direction, or do a golf swing in the opposite direction, picking up the ball. Same with playing tennis, same with balls, same with any kind of one-sided sport. I always try and tell people who row, right, if you're rowing on one side, rather than sculling, then do you try and get in a boat at some point and just row on the other side, try and balance yourself back up, because that creates so much problem. If you're young and you're doing it, it's going to create a lot of problems in your growth. And kids play golf as well, and tennis. If you're older and you're doing it, what you're going to find, and I've seen this certainly with rowers, is your traps and your muscles are massive on one side and not on the other side. So sculling's always better, but that's a different subject. But the same will happen in golf. So you'll start to create a curve in the spine. And that's what we often find in clinic here.
Yeah, definitely. Rotational through the front thoracics as well, and then low on one side.
So mobility is not just a buzzword, and core work is not just something that we like to talk about because everyone talks about it and it's totally boring. There is always a method to the madness, but maybe we've not explained ourselves well enough. I think there is that. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. That's the back time.
No, I think that's pretty good. Actually.
Shall we just recap on what we're going to learn in this course? Because I think we started off and then we went on yet another tangent.
It's all good.
So we've got 4 sessions at the moment.
Yeah, so we're looking at mobility, we're looking at general strength, power, and there was a 4th.
There is a 4th?
We've got it all written down here.
I think it is.
I think there's one on pure back pain, off-season trainer strategies, strength, power, integrated approach, PTs and chiropractors working together.
Although we'll be there for each session, it's just kind of more closer.
To answer questions and help.
It's just hopefully just even you're just going to get just tips and advice on just how to keep playing and how to keep playing pain-free, injury-free, and hopefully getting stronger, hitting the ball further.
We all want results like that.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think as a roundup is just kind of, we just want to highlight the importance of mobility, how strength and how the body works in general, so that we can tell you and help you with you playing better, moving better, being pain-free, and making sure that even though you might be playing pain-free, but then the next day it's like, oh my God, I can't get out because of my back. We want to make sure that you don't have that. And the most important thing is to highlight that pre-season as well, prehab as well. Make sure that you're not dropping off with your strength, because that will show when spring comes back around. And you won't want that to show.
I threatened to ask a few questions as well, so close this down, because I think these are quite interesting as well. So the first one's for you, Scott, actually. What inspired you to create this course?
Just to help people.
Yeah.
I think it's like with any PT, it's that, you want to help people get better, it's like I said, stay injury free, and there's a certain satisfaction in knowing that you're helping them becoming better at what they want to do. And when it's something specific like golf, you're able to do it with a knife edge sort of thing. It's quite nice, professionally it's nice. Yeah,
gives you good job satisfaction.
Yeah,
because you can actually measure that difference as well, rather than getting the handicap down, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
This is for both of you actually, so you can each answer this one. I'll start with you, Francesca. What is the biggest mobility limitation that you see with golfers?
It's a hard one, because I think it's equal. I'd say if it's a golfer without a pre-injury, it would be shoulders, upper back. But if they've had low back pain in the past, it's always the low back that is the first to go, if that makes sense.
And that goes back to the positioning that they're in, the work. What about you, Scott?
Pretty much the same. There's a lot of rounded shoulders, and when you try and teach them how to do a rowing exercise, they find it very hard to get I'm saying to them to get their shoulders back, but some of them physically can't, because they're so it's that whole upper back roundness, tightness thing, and and trying to get them to open up a little bit and open their chests up.
Question with that then, is it the golf that's making them more round shoulder because you're doing that, or is it the work that they do or have done?
I think it's bad positioning and not addressing, not strengthening. They're not doing the other stuff on the side that's going to help like combat when you are, it's like doing both sides. They're not doing. It's just a lack of mobility. It's a lack of training, and muscles getting weaker. Like there was a guy in the gym today. He's was used to hit the ball really far, and then he lost near 5 stone in weight. and all of that strength. He never hit the gym. The strength came from his size. Mass moves maths. And as soon as he's lost the size, his handicap's gone up. It's doubled. And his power's completely, it's dropping off, and it's just, and that's why he's coming to the gym.
Training kind of like balanced.
Yeah, that's why he's coming to the gym, because he's like, I realised that it was my size that was helping me for that one swing, helping me get the ball far. Yeah. So it just, it's strength.
As always, it's our favourite word. How does off-season strength training translate to better performance during the season? I think we might have covered this one.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we've done it to death, I think. Right, this is a good one. What do golfers often misunderstand about fitness?
I think, so it's always, when they come to the gym, it's pretty much, there's a lot of golfers, it's pretty much a lot of people that avoid the gym. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. That's what they say. I don't want to look, and I'm like, look, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder. Yeah, I get this a lot from...
This did not take a day.
I get this a lot more from women's side, because they have this idea that they touch one... Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
don't want to look like you.
Yeah, I've firsthand seen female PTs get the offhanded sort of comment when they're like, "Oh, I want to be in shape. I don't really want to look like you." Yeah, and the PT looks amazing, and I'm like, "Well, that was a bit of an offhanded comment."
Yeah,
but no, it's I think that was pretty good.
Right. Okay. Right. One each for you. How will the collaboration between PTs and chiropractors help golfers on this course?
So I like using analogies to do with cars. Okay, so I feel like the PT is like the aesthetic side, the body work, making sure the body work's looking good and everything, and it's lovely and stuff, and a little bit to do with the engine, but the frame, the chassis, the brakes, everything is where the chiropractors come in.
Yeah,
the chiropractors.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like you're doing the inner workings, and we're doing the the aesthetic sides. People do want to look good.
But you do still make sure that the oil's in the engine. And...
But it's one of those things. Everyone has their when I've hurt myself over the years training, I've relied on my friends that are chiropractors and stuff like that to help me, get better at, remembering, because it become a lot of like, do as I say, not as I do. I would avoid doing it myself, because you fall into, you get a bit lazy. And so it's taken a few injuries for myself and listening to, chiropractors and stuff to really take it on board and understand that the mobility and training right and everything like that, keep your body in check, is just as important as lifting the weight in the gym. So
Absolutely.
I think anything to add to that?
Can you beat my mechanic analogy?
I think it's just, it comes like hand in hand in a way. It's like, I help you, you help me kind of build that strength, but also building the body. You said it perfectly. I don't even know what to say anymore.
I think there's one thing that you can't, if you're trying to exercise a muscle that's tight on one side and elongate on the other, like we said, through putting rotation through your body, or your pelvis isn't level, so you're going to create an injury. And I think that's how we can also work together. Sometimes you can rehab or exercise too soon. And I mean, I can't tell you the amount of patients I had in clinic where they would come in and they could barely walk and go, shall I join the gym and start exercising? Like, that ship has sailed, my friend. We've got to get you sorted first, and then you can join the gym. So there is a time and a place for both, and both are needed to work. I think we need to integrate and talk more. Are you okay with that?
You fell off.
But I think that's where that's where the base and the structure comes in from, where we do like our initials and stuff. It's more of a plan building as well. So we look at you and go, actually, you might be on the level where you could start rehab. Build up the core as well, because I don't want you to go straight into the gym. As much as I trust the PTs here, I've seen people go PTs in other places and they're doing straight deadlifts, but you haven't even got the core control yet to lift. It's going to go on the disc.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
What changes, Scott, can participants expect to feel after they finish this course?
I think hopefully a less restrictive swing. That feeling of feeling a little bit restricted goes. Confidence, and just a little bit more education, knowing more. But I think a lot of people they obviously just don't realise what they need to just have. That little bit more awareness of their body, I think, goes a long way.
Definitely.
I think as well, educational is key, because as long as the person understands, then even if their buddies don't come along or they go to a different club, they can then tell their person who is struggling, do this warm up with me, or you should try this instead.
Yeah. It's like I'm like sat here through this, you know. Sometimes it's having that awareness, because sometimes I feel like I'm relaxing.
Oh yeah.
And but I have that awareness to be like, oh, and I sit back up straight. But I think a lot of people just don't. And they will sit in these positions or be in those positions for X. So just just more awareness on things is better.
Definitely awareness for sure. And then if you carry that on and you become more aware just to exercise and understanding why you're exercising, the method to the madness as well.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go and do core work today, it's boring, but I'm going to do it because it's going to make my swing better and it's going to stop me from getting a bad back.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be stronger as well by the end of it.
Yeah.
Have we got anything else to add? I think we've covered everything, but have we?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
You're itching to say no.
Just say, like, you know, thick thighs save lives.
Yeah, thick thighs save lives.
Yeah, and
That's all we got from
starts
it.
on Monday. What time's got?
well, so it's the week. The golf thing starts on Monday. It's when we're doing a lot of the golfing programs. We're going to do the first workshop actually on the Friday together.
Yes.
And then we're just going to run it that way.
Right,
Yeah.
so you can register where?
Because obviously it's just for the golf members.
Right, okay.
It's going to be on there within their training rooms for them to sign up to.
Okay, so if you're a golfer, get into your changing rooms. Is it a QR code or something?
It's
or
just a good old fashioned signed up.
a good old fashioned form. Fill in your name.
There you go.
Put your name.
And these guys will see, because I'm over here.
You
See
will
you
see
next
us.
week.
You're gonna see us again. And
the
do
thick
tell us to
thighs.
shut up if we start going on them too much.
This
If we
is
start
my final
rambling.
class.
Yeah. With
Well,
me
that's
Yeah.
and
It's gonna
Mrs.
be a long
Glutes over here.
Yeah, big bye, same line.
Yeah.
Bye for now, guys.
Bye, thank you.